Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines here. Luna collapse, more questions than answers. Zakhanov versus Ripple. Naveen Gupta, China versus Russia China and Russia look to end the U.S. dollar global reserve currency status. We're going to tell you how. Asian market maker calls ODL a game changer. Christian Carlo Hester Purse on regulatory framework this year. We're going to hear that conversation. JPM's little secret. You're going to get all of it. And Dan Moorhead from Pantera Capital on the Ripple case and why Gary Gensler should step down as the SEC chairman. I'll even let him tell you. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at Dig Perspectives at the top of the screen and everything that we're talking about here. And give us a follow on TikTok at Digital Perspectives, no spaces, and Facebook at Digital Perspectives News. $1.365 trillion market cap, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. It is May 31st, 2022 right now, and I hope everybody's having a good morning. The market is up 2.6%. Careful what we call progress. Bitcoin at 31,500 plus, Ethereum 1,900 plus. We see Cardano is taking the number 6 spot. XRP slips to number 7. It comes in at 41 cents. Cardano 63 cents. The range of price for XRP this morning is 40 cents on the bottom, 43 on the top. We're up 5% plus right now in the 24-hour. We'll keep an eye on it. This is what else I'm keeping an eye on right here. The gold-based alternative to banking. It's GlintPay, ladies and gentlemen. Link underneath the video. Gold, good enough for central banks, good enough for me. That's what I'm doing. You know I'm stacking my pennies next to their dollars. I'm not confused. I love investing in this high-risk asset class of crypto. But when I diversify my portfolio, this is one of the many different areas I like to go to that gives me the comfort to be able to continue to take those risks in the crypto space. It's GlintPay. Link underneath the video. Check it out. Take a look right here. Luna, the crash here has more questions than answers, I must say. And I think we all know how it crashed. But what is really puzzling here is not just Pantera Capital, as we reported, but also Mike Novogratz apparently profited millions from Luna sales right before the crash. Now, how does that happen that they always seem to know when to exit that position, right? One thing's for sure, Novogratz has got enough video information to prove to us with his own words he's not smart enough to do it on his own. So what did he know? Right here, we see Zakhanov versus Ripple case. There's been some documents submitted, May 25th and 24th, you see documents submitted here, order on stipulation and proposed order. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what this stuff means. Maybe John Deaton, maybe Jim Filan, or anyone else, Attorney Hogan, could help us out here and maybe find out what is in those documents so we can find out. Remember, the Zakhanov versus Ripple case very quickly decided to yield, I guess is the way to say it, if I hope I'm saying it properly, to the SEC versus Ripple case to be informed on how this case would proceed. So they have a word for that. I can't remember what it is, but I digress. We'll keep an eye on it. Stuart Alderati says it best here. Gary Gensler post here where he talks about being technology neutral, which I think he's anything but. And we're going to get to that before we get out of here today, too, because I think he's actually working in the interest of the banks. Knowing that he came from Goldman, we'll cover it in a second here. It's pretty powerful. Stuart Alderati says, we all agree that consumer and market protections are needed. Absolutely. But saying that every token besides Bitcoin maybe is a security is a combination of bad law, bad policy, all in the name of the SEC's political land grab over this asset class. The SEC's jurisdiction is not limitless. And that's the problem here. In short, I've said this many times, I have no problem with the crypto exchanges and lending platforms registering with the SEC. I get it. The problem we have is that with the way Gary Gensler has been running the SEC from his position, is that if you do that, then everything that you have on your platform is now security to him. And that's the problem with this guy, right? Looking right here, we get a glimpse very quickly from the next couple pieces of news here of the pressure that is mounting globally over money and the ability to borrow and move it. Borrowing costs, this is from Naveen Gupta from Ripple, borrowing costs are surging in most of the world as the era of cheap money draws to a close. Rising cost of capital will weed out the wheat, with many abandoning the ship. Time for the wheat and chaff to separate. Absolutely. Well said, Naveen Gupta. But then we have this. And we know what's going on here. Then there's the pressure of knowing that, quantitative easing, which is a fancy phrase for printing money, which means money is not cheap to get anymore. All of that is changing because they're cutting off the faucet. And then at the same time, we also know all the way back here that this was an original post from TAIG. Shout out to him. From the Homeland Security he shared a year ago in October last year. China and Russia are collaborating on financial blockchain solutions. It is the opinion of Michael J. Casey, a blockchain advisor at MIT's Digital Currency Initiative. This could end the U.S. dollar's role as the intermediating currency when exporters or importers wish to protect themselves from adverse moves in their local currencies. It would cut out Wall Street's middlemen, correspondent banks. We've heard all of this before, but this is Michael J. Casey saying this on the MIT Digital Currency Initiative. Listen, this is all going to move what feels like very slowly, and then all of a sudden it's going to happen in a flash. I really do believe that, because this is not going back the other way. This narrative is not going to reverse itself. And here's even more evidence of that. According to Juniper Research, blockchain payments are predicted to exceed $4.4 trillion in just 2 years. In just 2 years. And what do we know about USD coin? Jeremy Allaire has told us they've got more than $3 trillion worth of transaction volume so far since their inception. It goes on in this article to say blockchain transactions are highly secure because the records of transactions and on a digital ledger are immutable and cannot be altered, reversed, tampered with. Typically, the LANC verification process can be done in less than a minute with updates in real time. We know that they're projecting $4.4 trillion within next 2 years. As mentioned, a DLT-based system can free up valuable resources in businesses, streamlining end-to-end payment processing. Listen as we go here. The integration of Tranglo Connect and RippleNet is one such example. This partnership brings on revolutionary instant payment and settlement system, ODL, on-demand liquidity, to Asia Pacific and beyond. Our article here highlights how businesses will benefit from this. ODL eliminates pre-funding so companies get maximum working capital to grow other areas of their business. This is a game changer for Asian corporates and consumers. How about that? Then we have right here at home, we have Christopher Giancarlo right here talking with Hester Peirce, the crypto mom and dad. Take a listen.
Our lack of clarity. I mean, there's a big draw to be in the U.S., so we're definitely beneficiaries of the fact that we have the best markets and the best place to do innovation in the world, but we can't ride on that past. We really have to take a proactive approach now.
Nathan, I'll go to your theme of this talk, cloudy or clear. I think one thing's very clear and one thing's cloudy. I think what's very clear is the technology won't be stopped. The technology is going to march on, just as the internet has marched on.
That's
to
right.
think that the internet won't do to finance, banking, and money what it's done to social networking, transportation, entertainment, art, and information is just naive. It will.
That's right.
What's cloudy is what's going to be our official policy response in Washington. And I think right now that is cloudy. I think there are some that are in the vanguard of really trying to rethink this in very creative ways and thoughtful ways. And there are others that just see it as something to be suppressed, to be stopped. I think those who are wedded to the existing way of doing things, whether that be regulators or policymakers, or in the banking industry or finance industry. But the truth of the matter is, I actually, from my conversation now that I'm in the private sector with traditional finance, I think the days of ignoring it or ridiculing it are over. I think traditional finance is moving in a big way. I think it's really still the policymakers where the jury is out as to whether they embrace it, as we did embrace the first wave of the internet in the 1990s in a very bipartisan way between the Clinton White House and the Gingrich Congress. We embraced it in a very big way. I think if we take the same enlightened approach, that there are both opportunities and challenges here. We need to get the right regulatory framework around the challenges. We need to open ourselves to the opportunities. I think we could go into a golden age of free market finance, greater financial inclusion, greater access, and new relationships with finance for a whole new generation that has different expectations of their relationship with their money and their assets. So I think we need to open ourselves to the opportunities, create a framework to deal with the challenges, and get on with the job that we've always done in this country, which is face the future with optimism and encouragement.
Just, I mean, so well said. I mean, I'm such a fan of Chris Giancarlo here. I mean, what he's saying just makes so much sense. And I love the analogy of comparing it to the early days of the internet and a Democratic administration with a Republican Congress and how they actually work together. Boy, what a time that was, right? Wow, to be able to get back to that. But nevertheless, this is JP Morgan's little secret here, and they've known it since 2018, shared here again by TAIG, excuse me. We note that the speed, cost, and liquidity characteristics of Ripple have made it the most appealing digital asset for financial institutions for application at scale. Ripple has already received acceptance within the financial community. February 2018. I show you that because I believe I'm about to show you why we're in this case at all, and how I also believe it may come less down to the judges and more down to what Ripple is willing to give up to have skin in this game by giving it up to the central banking system. Take a listen right here first. Start this off. This is Dan Moorhead from Pantera Capital.
This is Dan Moorhead. He's the CEO of Pantera Capital. They invest in crypto and blockchain companies. This is Carolyn Wilkins, and she's one of the Bank of Canada's governors. So she's one of the central bankers for the Bank of Canada. Now, listen to what Dan Moorhead has to say.
Needed to do that.
Carolyn, first for you. The question about Ripple and XRP, would you be willing to comment on whether that can become security or not?
So just if you didn't hear, the question is being asked about the Ripple and XRP and whether it's a security or not. And shout out to Darren Moore for this. Take a listen.
I think, what do you think? I don't think I should comment on that. Not that I have any inside information, but I probably shouldn't.
I'm happy to. So it's an interesting one. I was at a conference with the CEO of Ripple. We've been investors there since 2013. And the panelists asked him a question I didn't even know was true. He said that 19 out of the top 20 protocols are now based outside the United States. And he's number 20, and he's in a lawsuit with the SEC. He's probably going to move to Singapore. So as an American citizen, I think it's terrible that the government is scaring productive companies out of our country and to elsewhere. And it's the opposite of the internet, right? The US government literally built ARPANET and then gave sales tax subsidies to Amazon to help them grow, and gave all kinds of indemnifications to make the internet happen in the United States. And I think as a citizen, we've gotten a lot of benefit of having all the major internet companies here. And I think it'd be unfortunate if the SEC and others scared, blockchain to other countries. But the punchline is I don't know. It's a federal court case, and in about 6 months, a judge is going to tell us.
Yeah. And you know what we've been finding out so far in that case? Delay, 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 delay. That's what we've been finding out in that case. Now, here at the end of the day, this is the clip that we really need to see, because I believe this clip that I put together, and it's not just this, it'll be something else to follow it. But you're going to want to see this, because do I believe that the SEC versus Ripple was a weapon? You damn right I do. That's a yes. but not just for the ETHgate crew, but the banks too. Remember, former Goldman Sachs Gary Gensler should step down from his position at the SEC because he is from Goldman Sachs. He does come from the banking world. And at the end of the day, we know he's not protecting us. He has harmed us. So who is it that he's actually protecting? I feel that the argument can clearly be made that he's protecting the banks. Why do I believe that? Because I'm about to play you the video that shows it. Because he's going to explain to you why the banks won't let you in if you're a newcomer. And if they do, you're going to have to give up a piece of your company or a certain share of your token if you have one, maybe like Ripple and XRP, in order to participate with your new technology that can change the world. They're not just going to let you in. So who becomes the gatekeeper in a moment like that? The SEC becomes the gatekeeper through regulatory capture because of his banking Goldman Sachs past. That's who. That's what I believe on this day. Until I see different, that's what it's going to be from this day forward. Because at the end of the day, he's harming all of us. And who is the one that can benefit from the delay? The banks. Take a listen.
I do want to make a point really quickly about this burden of complying with regulation. I have an interesting fact. I'm not going to name the coin, but I was talking to to someone.
Please.
Nope, it's not a big one. Okay. But
Right.
not nowhere near top 10. But this is a project, a startup. They have a coin. They're doing really good work. They're trying really hard. They did a Reg D. They raised under $2 million. Spent almost $500,000 on lawyer fees. That's not his. That's not just his fault, Gary. I think the blame lies pretty equal. I think they're just taking advantage of.
So that gentleman with the beard is a lawyer, and she's pointing him and bringing him into the fray because he's a former regulator from the CFTC at the time. Not yet at the SEC. So that's why she wrangles both of them in and says, no, you're a part of that problem too, Gary.
Of the situation, I see. Right? I mean, this is atrocious. 25% or more of what you earned had to go to paying your lawyers just so you could comply. Like, they were trying to do it right. This is crazy. This seems crazy to me.
And as a lawyer, I can say that I don't want that outcome either. Like, I would love to see a more streamlined, clearer approach for certain types of startups. Again, proportionality, right? Some players can afford $500,000 in legal fees, and actually that's appropriate depending on the type of business you're in, right? But for startups that just want to get a token out into the world, and it really is like distributed computational infrastructure, right? Then
I mean, they
that's
did a Reg
really
D, so it wasn't exactly right, But the point is, they were doing the right thing.
Can we get to a clear framework so that people can do this in a cost-effective manner without having to hire a fleet of lawyers to try and figure it out?
I think that you're correct that there is a cost to build trust in the system.
There's a cost to build trust in the system. It's a pay-to-play operation. That's exactly what he just said right there. And he is about to show you exactly what that pay-to-play gets you. Take a watch.
Central monopolist with another central monopolist. A lot of commercial banks aren't terribly excited about that. Maybe you're going to have to give some ownership. Maybe you'll have to give 50% of your ownership to the 20 banks.
Especially if I'm at the SEC and I decide to sue you until I break your will in order to get you to give up that particular portion to the banks, right?
You're now, part of this. I mean, there are other ways to build incentive systems. Maybe you put a native token in there, and you give them the native token.
XRP?
So there may be other incentive ways to beat the current monopolist. But I, having been around commercial banks for a long time, they really are looking for ways to replace their aggregators in their back office, whether it's clearing, settlement, exchanges, credit agencies. But they are deeply understanding because they are pretty ambitious and very good at making money as well. They deeply understand that every idea that's pitched to them is somebody who currently is small but wants to get big and gain market power. So
they also are very good at being able to make sure that they have one of their alumni sit in the regulatory chair to make sure that they have that hurdle in place too.
Also, they're also always thinking about how to ensure that there's a check to slow down your startup from gaining market power 5, 10, and 15 years from now. They don't want you to be the next clearinghouse like the Chicago Mercantile Exchange or Intercontinental Exchange. They don't want you to be the next central node of market power. So you might share some of that with them, or you might find an incentive system.
And if you don't, they're going to have somebody like Gary Gensler sue you until they break your will in order to cooperate. Is this fact? I don't know. But does it look bad? You're damn right it does. And on this day, I'm not giving financial advice, but I'm telling you, it doesn't smell right. And the only way to make it right is for somebody like Gary Gensler to step down. It's too close to the sun. There's a conflict of interest just because he comes from Goldman Sachs and he can too eloquently provide the exact path that is in front of Ripple right now, and about his position being at the SEC agency, that he becomes a gatekeeper for the banks, or at least it appears that way. That's going to do it for me. Hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below. Check out all the links underneath the video to great products and services I use each and every day. I'll catch all of you on the next one.